So let's consider a real life application of this string comparison. There are multiple real life applications. We'll be concentrating on only one, where string comparison is a factor, is an essential factor. Together with, there are some other things that should also be kind of considered as well. So the thing that I want to discuss is a captcha generation and verification system. So what is a captcha? So as we all know, captcha is a kind of a mechanism using which we can kind of discriminate a human and a machine, or in computer terminology that is called a bot, which is a short form of robot. So it is developed to prevent a robot or a bot to automatically access some computing system. So the full form of CAPTCHA is completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. So why do we need CAPTCHA? So there are multiple applications. So the most important application and easy to understand application is called dictionary attack. What is dictionary attack? So let's consider let's consider that I know your email ID, and I know that you have set, or there is a condition based on which you have set your email ID, your password to some words from the dictionary. Now, what I can do is, I can write a program. Using that program, what I will be doing is, I will try to log into the system with your username, which I know definitely that your username is that, and I will be automatically generating basically I will be automatically taking all the words stored in the dictionary one after the other, and I'll be trying to log into the system using that username and password combination. The password is basically the dictionary word that I am considering. If I fail, I'll be considering the next word from the dictionary as password. If I fail, I'll be checking with the third, and so on. Now, if you try this kind of dictionary attack in, say, Google, after 5 attempts, or for other scenario, it can be 3 attempts, you will be getting, you will be kind of getting a message that, you need to provide some, you need to fill up some captcha before you will be able to try the next combination of username password to logging into the system. So basically, the Google server will be preventing you to go with the next username password combination to be tried, because at that point, after 3 unsuccessful attempts, the Google server can actually understand, or can actually infer that you are not, you do not know the actual password, or for some, if, of course, considering the fact that it might be the case that you are actually, you are the actual owner of the email ID, and you are actually trying, you have actually forgotten your password, and you are trying with different combination or different passwords that you can actually recall. Given this fact, it will not actually preventing you to give the next combination, but what it will imply you is, together with the username password, you need to fill up this captcha. That will actually ensure that you are a human being, you are not a robot. Again, why robot? Why it should be preventing robots from interfering, or robots from giving the username password combination? As we all know, robot can automatically generate or automatically consider all username password one after the other in a fraction of second. And this kind of thing, as I have said, is called dictionary attack. It is a very common attack. Now, earlier it was, if you were from say 20 years back, if you look at the Google system, it was, I think it was, I mean, the no captcha generation system was there. In that case, it can, I mean, we can actually infinitely many times we can actually give the username password combination, and it will continue on taking the username password combination, and based on that it will either give you the permission to logging into the system, or it would have shown you some error message that your username password is incorrect. So this is the one of the application of captcha. There are other applications. Today's discussion will be focusing on how to make a captcha generation and a captcha verification system. As we all know, in captcha, we used to see a randomly generated string. And what we need to do is we need to type in the exactly same randomly generated string in a given text box. And internally, the system would be comparing the randomly generated string with the one that you have given in the text box. So basically, this kind of a captcha generation and verification system will be consisting of three parts. First part, random generation of string. Second part, string in a complicated way. I'll be coming to very briefly coming to why it should not be given as it is. I mean, in this kind of format, although there are systems which actually provide the randomly generated string as it is like this, not in a kind of an image, in the form of an image. But I'll be discussing with you this in a bit. And the third part is where the string comparison is actually helpful, is actually needed. Is basically we need to consider this given string. Now the first part is actually very interesting. How to randomly generate a string. Now, as we discussed, computers only understands or only stores some numbers. All the strings are also converted into numbers. And we have discussed that Unicode is kind of an encoding decoding algorithm, you can say, or a mapping table that maps all the writable characters into some numbers. And the corresponding Unicode for the English alphabets are capital A to capital Z is 65 to 90, small a to small z is 97 to 122, and the numbers, that is the digits, are also associated with an Unicode value. That is 0 to 9 is having the Unicode, corresponding Unicode values are from 48 to 57. So to randomly generate a string, what we need to do, first of all, we need to generate a random number, a random integer, and then we need to use that random integer as the Unicode value, and the corresponding Unicode character will be basically considered as the randomly generated Unicode string, right? Now, how to generate a random value or a random integer? So to generate a random integer, there is a package in Python which is called random. Let's write some program to do that. So the random package. Then if I want to generate a number from say 0 to 10, what we need to do is random.randint. This randint is a function which is defined in this module, in this package, random package. And we need to provide two parameters. As we want to generate a random number from 0 to 10, we need to provide 0 and 10. And if I just print the value, you can see 6 has been generated randomly. If I continue on execute, and there is no deterministic way of understanding which number is actually getting generated or which number will be generated in the next iteration. So just to show you, let's generate a set of say 10 random integers from 0 to 10. So what I am doing is, this I know, this will be basically, if I just print the value of I, it will be printing 0 to 9. So basically this loop will be executing 10 times. Now let's just add this statement here. So things are doing is basically it is generating 10 random integers from 0 to 10. Now if I execute, you can see these are the 10 randomly generated integers. 5, 1, 8, 0, 7, and if I again execute them, you can see we are getting 10 different values in the next iteration. If I execute again, you can see every time I'm executing these two lines, I'm getting 10 random numbers which are completely random. Now how to get a character from an integer? So what we will be doing is, we are basically using a function. We will be basically using a function that is called chr, which will be taking an integer, a single integer as parameter, and it will be returning the corresponding Unicode character associated with this parameter that is given, which will be considered as the Unicode value. So now, if I want to generate a value between a if we want to generate a random character from capital A to capital Z, what we need to do? We basically need to say, if I need to, or if I want to generate 10 10 random characters from capital A to capital Z, I need to just change this starting and ending. If I execute, you can see I am getting the corresponding Unicode values, right? Now, if I just really want to get the corresponding Unicode characters, I want to put this CHR here. Now, these are the randomly generated characters, randomly generated alphabets, which are capitals. So if I execute, continue executing, you can see for every iteration, we are generating 10 different capital characters from the English vocabulary. Okay. Similarly, if I want to generate random integers, random alphabets from lowercase English alphabets, then I need to provide this 97 and 122. You can see every time it is generating a set of 10 random alphabets. All of them are in lowercase, right? So basically, using this CHR character, we can actually do that. Now, how can we actually randomly generate a set of, basically randomly generate a string of 10 characters, and how to store that? Okay, so let's first generate a string having, say, capital A to capital Z, having the digits or having the alphabets from capital A to capital Z. Let's declare one variable, say rand str. Let's initialize it with empty value. Now, what I need to do is, so basically what I want to do is, I want to generate a random string from capital A to capital Z, containing the alphabets from capital A to capital Z. Now, what I will be doing is, rand string plus equals to this thing, and we can just we can ignore this. Now, what this actually is doing, so I am initializing this variable with empty, and then I am iterating this statement for 10 times. Every time rand string is being concatenated with a randomly generated character from capital A to capital Z. Now, if I print, you can see this is the randomly generated string. Every time I am getting a different one. Similarly, if I want to generate, say, let's just copy it here. If I want to generate, say, capital A to small z, can see I can get this. And also, if I want to generate the digits, of course, the digits directly I can, if I provide this from 0 to 9, it will be actually giving us the random integers from 0 to 9. But the earlier Unicode values, particularly from 0 to 32, are not actually printable characters. So this is not actually, so basically, as the final target is to randomly generate, a string, we should not be considering these integers. Although if I execute this, I'm expecting to get one integer randomly, but I need to consider them as strings. So instead of doing this, what we need to do is we need to replace 0 with 48, this with 57. And now if I execute, you can see this is a randomly generated string of digits. This is a randomly generated string of lowercase characters. This is a randomly generated a string of uppercase character, and this is a randomly generated string of digits. If I execute this, you can see every time I'm getting a different randomly generated string. Okay. Now, how to actually generate a string with say 10 characters or 10 randomly generated characters, which will be a mixture of capital, small, and digits. So I'm going to write that program. It will be a very nice one. Please concentrate. So my target is to kind of generate a string like this. But instead of, there are 8 characters here, but I'll be generating a random string of 10 characters, including, the string will be containing small case, lowercase, uppercase, as well as digits. And there will be a kind of a randomness among the generated values. So first of all, I'll be again doing this, of course, because I need to generate 10 characters. Before that, I need to again declare a variable where I'll be storing the value. Now, I need to kind of make a random decision whether I want to whether I want to generate a random character from uppercase, lowercase, or a digit. How can we do that? Any guess? Any guess? So basically, I want to. Yes, please.
Random.randint and their parameter will be 48 to 112.
No. So you were saying. So let me show you that as well. So you were saying that. So let's just print. Let's just have this for I in range 48 to 122. 122, 11, not 112, and then this thing random.randint. Sorry, what I'm going to become crazy. Yeah. So this is what you were saying, right?
Yes.
So if I execute this, so note that these are the Unicode characters and the corresponding Unicode values, but there are Unicode values or Unicode characters associated with 58, 59, 60, 61 as well. Now, if I execute this, sorry, you can see these are the characters. Okay, there is an underscore. If I again execute, luckily we are only getting the alphabets. Again, you can see there is an at the rate of. So these are, again, you can see this this character as well as less than, ending square bracket. You can see this tilde, this colon, and so on. Right? You can see, here it is again less than, again underscore, and so on. So this is not actually It should not be the solution. You get the point,
So,
right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so any other guess?
so if
So
so
basically
if
we
I
need to, yes, please go ahead.
so if I write multiple loops inside one loop, right? Suppose
Correct,
for r
correct,
in that,
correct. But
but in that
not
case, the position of the numbers and capital letters will be fixed, right? They won't be
uh,
they
not
won't be
actually.
interchanged.
So yes, we can have something like this. So what you are saying is we will be considering, say, first character as capital, second character as small, third character as string, third character as digit, and so on. But we can also make that decision as a random decision as well. How to do that? Let's try to do that. Randint randomly generate a digit from 0 to 2. Will be generated. Sorry, I missed the random here. Random.randint. So this statement will be generating either 0 or 1 or 2, right? Now, if r say equals to 0, I will be consider generating a random capital letter, right? Basically, in that case, what we need to do is rand str plus equals to the same thing that we have done here, right? You get that this, right? Now, if r is 1, that is randomly generated value is 1, then I'll be considering, say, small. In that case, it is 97 to 122. And if it is 2, I'll be considered generating a random digit. In that case, it will be from 48 to 57. Sorry. Is it clear? I mean, these are only
Yes, sir.
comments. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now let's print the value or print the rand str, and let's look at what we are getting. You can see the value that we are getting is, there are actually 10 characters, G910SG0XAY. So first is capital, then digit, then digit, then digit, then digit. There are only two smalls. Let's execute again. You can see the next one is, first is small, then digit, then capital, small, capital, 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 small. If I execute, every time it is generating a new random string. So this is how we can actually make a random string. We can actually generate a random string. All right. Now, this we have already discussed. It's basically a function ORD, which is the opposite of CHR. CHR takes basically an integer and convert it into its corresponding Unicode character. But ORD is basically takes one Unicode character and basically converts it into its corresponding Unicode value. We have discussed this or we have shown this in the last class. Now, the second part of having this captcha generation system would be to present the captcha or to present this randomly generated string. Now, what we can do is we can, I mean, let's consider we have generated this string having 8 characters. Now, we can simply give this, make this a little bit noisy, note my word, noisy, so that an image verification or image retrieval system or basically image recognition system cannot actually convert this or convert the corresponding image of this characters or this randomly generated string to recognize what are the actual characters. Note that this whole captcha generation system is to restrict the bots to access some system without being without any human interference. So if we want to ensure that your system will be only accessed by a human being, then in that case, if we give this and one very intelligent uh, image recognition system can actually recognize this is E, this is 3, this is T, this is J, and so on. And it can actually give this thing here in the text box and it can actually proceed. So from that point, as we all know, we basically this randomly generated strings are given as as an image with some noise. There can be a straight line in between, so that only humans can understand that it is basically what it is written inside. Only a human can understand or kind of understand what it is written, and they can actually give this in the text box. But the generation of an image or this kind of a noisy image from a scope of this course. So we will not be considering that in this course. But the idea is to the whole plan on discussing this is to give you the idea of how this system actually works. And finally, the Captcha comparison is how we will be considering or how we will be checking whether this rand string is actually same as the one that the user is giving or not. So basically, what we can do is, so let's consider say IP as input. Enter the so if I execute this and if I execute this, so if I give something like this, so if I just give it here, so I know that this string is actually stored in this rand str variable, right? And IP is the input. Now, if IP equals to rand str print captcha matched, else error in matching captcha. So if I execute, you can see we are getting the output captcha matched. Now if I want to type this, I should be typing this. So let's type it like this: x6 say yw4, say it is small s. If I give say capital S and then the rest as it is, and if I execute this, you can see error in matching captcha. In this case, we are actually utilizing this string comparison to have a captcha verification system. And this whole captcha generation is basically using this randint function. This randint function, what it's doing is basically generating a random integer, which is defined in this random package or random module, which is generating a random integer in either of these ranges. And we are using this chr function to get the corresponding Unicode character. That is, this randomly generated integer is considered as an Unicode value, and the corresponding Unicode characters are obtained using this chr function. Any question up to this?